Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zelda Speedruns, to ZSR2 to be exact, and welcome to an anniversary. It's been a full year since The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has been out, and we think this is a fantastic opportunity to do an anniversary race. So today we're gonna have a nice, fantastic any% anniversary race. 11 entrances. So without further ado, you don't want to listen to me, you want to see the game. Let's head over to the layout and let's say hi to Senor Tarpia and to Clouded. Take it away, it's all yours.
Alright, hello everybody, welcome. We're so excited to be hosting this race in celebration of Tears of the Kingdom anniversary. For those of you that may not know me, I am Clouded. I'm one of the community mods for Tears of the Kingdom speedrunning, also a runner myself.
And I'm Senor Tapir, I'm also a community mod. We helped organize this race a little bit earlier this week, and glad everyone can show up and glad everyone's in chat here to celebrate the 1-year anniversary. It's been an amazing year, I think, with all the fantastic runs that everyone's been going through.
For sure, and what couldn't possibly have a better time for the any% category to become much more popular again with the introduction of Quick Drop Smuggle. We've seen a lot of top runners come back to the game recently, dropping their times with the current world record down to the 40-20s by Moldy Meatballs, who is participating but not on Restream. Speaking of Restream, we'll have Lovely Sirius, Moist, Eshik, and Kontiko, as you can see on your screen here. However, we do, as mentioned, have 7 other runners that will not be featured on Restream, but you can go ahead and check out their own individual streams as well if you'd like to follow them.
And for this race, we will be starting from New Game, just because of all the glitches that 1.0 has. At the start of the game around June, we did introduce an intro skip, which a lot of runners tend to do if they're doing other categories, but 1.0 has an amazing skip that allows them to save over a minute in the intro, so that'll be interesting to see how the runners handle that challenge at the start of the race.
Right. And all 4 of our runners on Restream right now are playing on version 1.0. And so you will be seeing all of them try to attempt to perform this intro clip as the race has started. Just to go over briefly the rules again, no restrictions this time. Amiibo is allowed. All glitches allowed within the current rule set on speedrun.com are allowed. So these will basically be top runners going for PB attempts. As you're seeing everybody load in here, we're going to watch them head over to the wall and line up for this precise climb jump clip to get out of bounds in the intro. Serious, very first clip, first try. Kontiko also through.
And they have to do a series of Moz doors just to try to get around some Zelda cutscene skips. There's like a little barrier that if you don't do this precisely, you will get caught in a cutscene and dragged back in bounds.
Right, so it requires some very careful parkouring here to get around these cutscene triggers. And the intro clip out of bounds movement here saves over a minute now compared to just running through and talking to Zelda. So optimally, we won't be getting to see her again until the end of the run. But we'll see Lovely Sirius already making his way down to the trigger. Very solid clips and
that's really good
by all 4 runners that you can see on your screen.
And
as they all head
not too far behind.
Right, they're all heading into the intro cutscene here pretty much even. And speaking of cutscene, it's now time for the infamous 3.5 long, unskippable, everyone's favorite upheaval cutscene, where we get to find out if that actually is the sword that seals the darkness. Place your bets in chat now.
I'm gonna bet yes.
That sounds like a pretty safe bet to me. So I guess now we can take this time to go over a little bit of the route changes that we've seen recently in the past couple months. I mentioned earlier about a new technique known as Quick Drop Smuggle, discovered by Zas and Mulberry with help from some other glitch hunters in the community. It's a method that we use to set up Arrow Smuggle, which, if you're not familiar with, is basically a glitch state where Link's bow is desynced from his model, allowing him to perform some pretty crazy tricks, such as flying across the map, leaping out of bounds through ceilings, infinite height, fall damage cancel. It's basically an all-ubiquitous movement technique. But Quick Drop Smuggle is the newest setup that was found to activate that glitch state. All that it requires is 2 bows, a suitable wall, and a suitable floor to stand on. and just about 4 seconds or so of menuing. Very, very quick, much faster than the previous setups, which we had Zuggle Overload for the no amiibo route, which was about 20 seconds longer, and Shock Arrow Smuggle route for the amiibo route, which not only was a bit longer, but also required quite a bit of amiibo RNG to get a topaz in order to shock yourself. So with the introduction of Quick Drop Smuggle, and about 2 months ago, we've seen a lot of runners come back to the game and knock their times down. With the Tears of the Kingdom's first 90% sub 40 run looking much more doable. We've got a couple top runners that have already hit sub 41 and are grinding to be the first to hit that huge sub 40 for the first time.
And also welcome in Raiders from ZeldaSpeedRuns. Glad to have you here. This is Tears of the Kingdom 1-year anniversary. You just missed out on the intro, but I think this is a fantastic time to join the stream. Getting to skip most of this intro cutscene. So coming up next, you will see runners try to perform probably one of the hardest tricks in the run, just because of how precise it is, but it is very easy to set up fast. They're gonna have to cut a large chunk of the starting room in order to get into an area that we shouldn't be able to get into until after completing most of the Great Sky Island. So we shall see how runners handle that today.
Right, your reward for getting a fast intro and sitting through this long unskippable cutscene is to be faced with yet another one of the hardest and most important tricks of the game, as Sapir mentioned, which is cog skip. By using one of those wheels on the side, or cogs on the side of the room, you can perform a precise backwards jump slash with a little bit of speed boost from a perfect slope to get up and access a place we're not supposed to get there quite yet. And cog skip, or CSS as they like to call it, it's used in pretty much every single category that I can think of. I don't know of a category except for maybe blindfolded, one of our newest category extensions that does not require cog skip for the optimal route.
But player 5 is still trying to go for it in his runs, so maybe not anymore.
True, true. He did actually just set the new Great Sky Island blindfolded world record with a blind cog skip setup, which personally I found to be very impressive.
That was insanely impressive. You found that.
So we can see Sirius, Contico, and our other runners here heading into the Room of Awakening to get our first key pickup, which is the Decayed Master Sword. We're not going to be seeing much of it in this run. It's just mostly going to be useful to help perform a few techniques at the start that require jump slashes, including cog skip, which we're about to see. But we will be quickly disposing of the Master Sword. But don't worry, we'll be getting it back at the end of the run.
So really quickly, thank you Silver Gauntlets for the raid again. This is the 1-year Tears of the Kingdom anniversary, and glad you all can stop by. Ooh, that was a close one by Sirius. Oh, Contico!
Second one. Contico got it first try, so he is now pulled into the lead here, based on what we're seeing, and he's making his way down the tunnel. Sirius has just got cog skip as well. Moise Eshek still setting up, trying to get that perfect angle.
Oh. That guy was so close. There he goes.
Alright, now just waiting on Moise to get up. The nice thing about cog skip is that even though it's such a difficult trick, the time save over not doing it and either doing the older cog jump or running through the tunnel is so great that you can get it 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe even 9th try and still be saving time over not doing this trick. Not to mention, it enables a very, the next part of the route, very exciting here, you'll see Contico is grabbing the wings, which is our next item pickup. These wings on top of the Room of Awakening here are available to us because of cog skip, and without them, we would be basically running up the mountain instead of flying straight there. So that, in and of itself, also saves multiple minutes over not performing cog skip.
You see the runners, they're opening the menu, spamming a bunch of buttons. They're actually duping all of those wings, and they're able to get those 3 wings to 22 in less than 5 seconds. So that is one of the more powerful glitches that 1.0 I think has to offer.
The infamous duplication glitch. And speaking of glitch, well, actually, it's not much of a glitch. It's more of a technique here, but we'll see Contico and Lovely Sirius in the title cutscene now. Eshek and Moist Default. They're going to be attempting to perform another super cool trick called Wing Flip, whereby pulling out a wing during a dive and jump slashing at the precise time, you can get the wing to flip over, where you can then cancel a dive and basically fall damage cancel off the side of the wing, then perform another jump slash and pull out another wing and glide straight to the construct. So we'll see how they do here. Sirius in particular is kind of the king of wing flip, so definitely watch for him. He's great at getting it without taking any damage as well. Looks like Contico nailed it. Flawless execution by Sirius as well.
Beautiful.
And actually, it looks like Sirius is getting a bit of a faster dive, which means he'll be catching up by a few seconds to Contico, who got Cog Skip before him. Oh, and it looks like Eshek here is actually going for a slightly older version of what we call the early ascend route, which we'll see in a minute here, performing these jump slashes. The reason you want to stay up high here is to avoid a autosave trigger that will put you back on the ground later on, which will be a huge setback. The idea of the early ascend route that I just mentioned here is we want to touch the door of the Temple of Time and then void out, get all the way there without touching the ground by staying on these wings, so that we can quickly get back up to the Room of Awakening and just take a wing to ascend rather than having to wing from lower down and run through the cave, or just run and climb up the waterfall like we used to do back in the Stone Age.
The Stone Ages.
AKA 1 year ago.
So it looked like Moist had a little bit of trouble with that wing flip.
Oh, that was a incredible save there by Contico. I'm not sure if anybody was able to see that. I barely caught it myself, but after the cutscene, he was just barely not standing on the wing, so he had to quickly run up on the wing before the autosave could figure out what was going on. But based on what I saw, it looks like he successfully avoided the autosave, so his early ascent attempt is still alive. Oh, it looks like we've got Moldy Meatballs on stream here, replacing Moist as well, the current world record holder for this category. He's been grinding very hard over the last few months to bring the time down closer to sub 40, and looks like he's also neck and neck with Lovely Sirius, who is the current second place in this category. Here will be
That's an
awkward placement. Oh no! Both runners, Moldy Meatballs and Lovely Sirius in front, running into some difficulty with this strat we call Temple of Time Shield. While not entirely difficult, it does have the propensity to troll you a bit there. The idea, like we mentioned, is to stay on the wing while activating the door, while also trying to ram that construct and grab the sword and shield. Unfortunately, it looks like Moldy Meatballs got a bad wing placement and couldn't get up there. And Sirius as well accidentally slipped and touched the ground, so we'll get to see them try wing flip again.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what I can see, it looks like Contico has retaken the lead. He's got a successful wing flip and TOT shield. So now he's going to be hopping on the wing here and gliding straight to ascend. Actually, another tough trick coming up here for Contico. He's going to have to perform another fall damage cancel by canceling a dive and grabbing onto a small, tiny sliver of the wall on the ascent shrine. You'll see him shield surfing here to maintain some momentum down towards the shrine. First try, very clean fall damage cancel by Contico. And we'll see Eshek here. Looks like he got a successful TOT shield as well. So with that, he has also pulled ahead of Lovely Sirius and Meatballs. Double the wing flip, double the fun, exactly. Intro clip, cog skip, wing flip. A lot of hard but very cool strats that have found their way into the first 15 minutes of this category. Lovely Sirius unfortunately has bonked his wing flip. However, he does know the backup route, which is only about 30 seconds or so slower than a successful early ascent attempt, so he can proceed from here. And it'll also help him save a little bit of time earlier on because he'll have a few more item pickups from running through the cave, as we'll see. Looks like Eshek couldn't... Yeah.
Just
couldn't
barely
get the
missing that.
cancel. Thankfully, missing that fall damage cancel is a much quicker retry than having to do wing flip again. And plus, you do get your heart refilled, so you don't have to worry about the cold damage quite as much. A little bit of a mercy rule from the game. So with that, Contigo has firmly established himself as far in the lead here. As we can see, he's going to be making his way through his sand. And this is where we're going to be seeing our first instance of the quick drop smuggle, which we mentioned earlier. He's going to be grabbing a bow here from this construct and another one on top to perform the quick drop smuggle setup, and then perform the very first out of several aerial flight sections in the run, and also what I consider personally to be the hardest. I know other runners have mentioned that they find it to be the hardest as well. It requires a very high BPM with a precise series of repetitions of ZR and Y to draw the bow and cancel the jump slash. And it's pretty easy to miss an input and accidentally do a real jump slash instead of a bow jump slash and fail the flight. Looks like his setup was pretty quick. Not grabbing the backup bow, interesting. So if he dies, he might have a little bit of trouble recovering arrow smuggle without that backup bow. So we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. That could cause some problems for him in the future. But it looks like he is getting a clean flight up to the top. Oh, I spoke too soon. Great reaction time though. He was able to perform a fall damage cancel and just quickly ascend up to the top. So minimizing the time loss, thankfully there for Contigo. And you'll see on Contigo's screen the bow stuck to his feet. The arrow smuggle is currently in a temporary state, but as soon as he goes through this loading zone to leave the shrine, it will be enter a more of a semi-permanent state. But if he dies or has to reload a save, that arrow smuggle will be gone. And without that backup bow, I'm a little worried for him because he won't be able to set up a quick drop smuggle again unless he scavenges around for another bow on GSI. So that'll definitely be something to keep an eye on. Which runners decide to go for the backup bow and grab it. It's only about, actually there's a setup now that you can grab the backup bow with 0 time loss pretty much. But I'm not sure if everybody knows that quite yet, but we'll see here. Backup bow flashbacks. Yep, I can definitely attest to the fact that getting the backup bow is pretty good if you're doing a no reset run. I've definitely been burned myself. Great fall damage cancel by Moldy Meatballs. And we'll see Sirius here. He's going to run through the cave like we mentioned, grabbing these peppers to tank the damage that he took from failing wing flip and also from the cold. And he'll also be the first to grab these bombs, which if you're familiar with any Zelda game or speedrun, you'll know that bombs are very useful. And Tears of the Kingdom is by far no exception. These bombs will enable our runners to perform some very cool setups for arrow flight, allowing them to use the momentum from a bomb jump into a very fast flight segment to basically zip across the map directly from shrine to shrine. And since Kenzico went up to the Room of Awakening, he's going to have to dive into the bottomless cave here, grab the second shield and the bombs that you'll also see Sirius grabbing as well. And now Contigo is going to be going for a trick that we call battery throw or battery trick shot to get the energy cell here. He's going to throw a capsule down and hopefully he'll hit a fan down below, which will trigger a dialogue with a construct to get him the battery. Great throw.
Nice.
Performing this trick shot here saves around 18 to 20 seconds or so over not doing it, because without getting the battery before your second shrine, after completion of the second shrine, you're locked into a much longer cutscene where they give you the battery. So this is basically a cutscene skip, but more of a, I guess, a cutscene alternation. Eshek with a very close flight up to the top, but he made it.
Did you see what happened to him?
I did not.
He went to, after he did the quick arrow smuggle, his second bow got flung down to the bottom, so he had to run and get it for the backup bow, and then he did the entire thing all the way from the bottom.
Classic. When the bow is stuck to Link's feet, it's got very volatile collision. It can definitely fling items across the world, as we saw there. So all the current runners on your screen are running on 1.0. As for the ones not on Restream, I believe everybody else is also running on 1.0.
I believe so too.
Moldy Meatballs getting the backup bow. A little bit of hesitation to start the flight. Oh, and got the jump slash, so he'll have to go for the platform ascend as well. A little bit of time loss is definitely better than dying and restarting the shrine. You know, now that it's been mentioned, something interesting about Air Smuggle is it is actually possible on every single version of the game, including current patch. Although, as we get more and more current in the game's releases, Air Smuggle becomes a bit more lengthy and difficult to perform, so not as viable for speedruns, or if so, it takes a bit of a longer setup. But it is very cool that this great glitch, ubiquitous to Tears of the Kingdom speedruns, any percent speedruns, has found its way into every single version of the game. And if you, speaking of which, if you haven't seen a current patch, version 1.1.2.1, any percent speedrun, I definitely recommend you check those out. They've got some new tech as well that I'm not as familiar with, so I'm probably not the best person to explain. But they've dropped their time to sub 50 minutes as well, which has been a huge milestone for our current patch runners. They've got some cool tech that you won't see anywhere else in a TOTK speedrun. Definitely something cool to check out. We'll see Kaneko hovering on the ceiling here. This is another cutscene trigger skip to get over the top there. Takes about 12 seconds or so, and he has finally completed his second shrine.
Has a very clean view shrine.
For sure, for sure. Unfortunately, it looks like Eshik fell off the wing on the way to Fuse, so he'll have to retry that one. But it's not a death, just a temporary setback, so it looks like he'll be okay. Although I'm a little bit worried about his health. Let's see if he can go quickly and tank the cold damage.
Think you'll be fine.
Oh, this is a bit of a white knuckler. He's going to come very close. He looks like he should be good. Kanteko here just furthering his lead. He's performing the Fuse to Ultra Hand, which I would consider to be the second most difficult aeroflight section of the run. This one requires a pretty high BPM as well. Not only that, but you have to deal with a couple of lag spikes on the way that can cause you to miss an input and kill the flight. But this flight is very, very fast. It performed optimally. You should see him touch ground right in front of Ultra Hand Shrine, basically directly from shrine to shrine with no detour. Just
Beautiful.
like that. Marvelous execution by Kanteko as he enters the third shrine. Oh, and it looks like Lovely Sirius dived down to Bottomless Cave out of muscle memory from doing the early ascend route. Forgetting that he already grabbed the bombs and shield, so he'll be going for a battery throw here. Although, now that I think about it, it is possible he did it on purpose if he doesn't remember the cue for the throw from up top and he only remembers the one from down below. Anyways, I'll let him cook. Looks like he's got more than enough bombs and ready to make his way over to Fuse.
I've been a little bit of both because he ran inside the cave, which he didn't need to do.
True, true, true. So if you take a look at Kanteko's screen here, the Ultra Hand Aerofly setup is one of my favorites. This concrete slab right here basically gives us a perfect angle to launch straight to the end of the shrine with what we call a ledge bomb. Ooh, beautiful flight from Kanteko. He's going to get a lot of speed on that. Be able to basically zip all the way to the very end. Making Ultra Hand definitely the quickest of the 4 shrines that we had to complete in this speedrun. Very quick lineup too. That was a solid segment overall from Kanteko, both the shrine entry and the flight inside the shrine itself. So now we got Meatball, Sirius, Eshek all making their way through Fuse. Kanteko is going to perform a arrow flight off this wing here, angling the wing down to give a perfect angle to land right in front of the door at the Temple of Time, where he'll be getting the recall ability to head up and complete the 4th shrine. You might see these bomb dupes that Lovely Sirius is doing out of the bomb jump into a dive there. Those are pretty scary, but Very cool and very fast. For those that didn't know, bombs work a little bit differently on version 1.0 and items in general. When you drop them from your inventory, they kind of drop with their collision inside of each other rather than as separate objects. And with bombs, which are very volatile, they have a tendency to explode if you dupe too many at once, or if their collision gets stuck inside of each other, they will explode immediately upon exiting the menu. So grabbing those bombs there as quickly as possible is definitely key to getting a fast fuse segment here, as these bombs, like we mentioned, are very crucial for the entirety of the speedrun.
Okay, you're getting the extra cutscene that we were trying to avoid with the throw at what's that? Ascend after ascend for the energy cell.
Right. Looks like Sirius was also not able to get the cutscene skip for Construct, so for those of you that really wanted to see that cutscene, now's your chance. Meatball's making his way to Ultra Hand. He's panning the camera up. This is a strat I've seen a couple of runners do to try to reduce lag. I'm not sure how much it actually helps, but hey, if it works, it works. And usually in this case, he's most likely checking his mini-map to confirm the angle and elevation is good to make it up to the shrine. Very, very clean flight, landed right in front of the door.
Oof. So Kentiko's about to head over to the last shrine after having to do required story stuff to unlock it. And thankfully we just have to teleport there.
We'll see Eshik here going for a backup. This is a slightly slower, but definitely easier setup. Although I think he forgot that he died and lost Arrow Smuggle, so he's going to have to reset that up. He did grab the backup bow, so he should be okay. But he's going to have to pass through a loading zone, so that'll be a little bit more time loss. But that setup he's going for on top of the hill is the original setup that we found. It's about 10-15 seconds slower, so not super bad, and a little bit easier to perform. It's basically kind of what we consider to be the beginner route. So it looks like he'll probably be going for that instead. And since he has to reset up Arrow Smuggle, that bow is going to be stuck to his feet, meaning he's going to have to be very careful not to press A at any point until he passes through the next loading zone, which will most likely be at the entry of Ultra Hand Shrine in a bit here. As we'll see, Kotiko making his way through recall, performing a jump off the stairs, pretty simple one. It's great that Arrow Smuggle has made his way into all 4 of the GSI shrines that we'll be completing here. The route has definitely become much more optimized in the past couple months. And Kotiko is now the first to complete the first 4 shrines. All that's left is to make his way back to the Temple of Time and leave GSI. Although I believe now he is going to be scanning Amiibo for a gem to use for Army. So here it comes, the biggest RNG, and pretty much the only current RNG component of the run is going to be this Amiibo scan here. He's got a 26-ish% chance to drop either a Ruby or a Topaz, which are the gems we're looking for. And getting a quick scan, wow, second try, very lucky. So he'll be saving easily 35-40 seconds over the no Amiibo route, which would be running outside and diving down to the cave for a guaranteed drop. Scanning all the way later here inside that cave, also, it's a bit of a load manipulation strategy as well. You tend to get a much faster load the more time you spend in that cave before warping, and we saw he got a very quick load there, so I'm sure he's pretty satisfied with the way this run has been going so far, and he'll be performing the same backflip into a wing drop to angle for an arrow flight to the Temple of Time. Looks like... Wow, that reaction time saved him with the fall damage cancel. Very quick thinking by Kotiko. That's the second time he's had to go for a reaction time fall damage cancel in this run. So this is definitely the exhibition of a top runner, very experienced in the game, and very experienced with making mistakes. That's, you know, honestly, that's the best way to learn, right? Making mistakes so you know what to do next time things go wrong. Also, now we've got Red Sleigh in the top left here, making his way through recall, not super far behind Kotiko. If he can hit the wing flip and get quick scans after recall, he'll definitely be able to close the gap a little bit. Red Sleigh actually has a little bit of a different lineup for the arrow flight inside of recall. He takes a little bit longer to line up, but his flight itself is a bit faster. So he's saving approximately 1 or 2 seconds with a quick lineup. As you can see, he got up to the top very quickly. Oh, it looks like Sirius has been moved down to the bottom left here, also making his way to the recall ability. A bit of a distance between some of our top runners here, but what's coming up next, as you'll see Contigo perform, once we get off GSI, things are gonna get even crazier because we are going to be heading directly to the end of the game. Clip out of bounds, dive to the depths, clip back in bounds, and fight the Demon King's army. And after you reach that point, the game does not update your autosaves anymore. So if you die anywhere between clipping out of bounds, or I guess I should say entering army and entering the Ganondorf boss fight, you will have to retry the whole segment. And you will also lose Arrow Smuggle, requiring you to set that up again. So this is definitely a bit of a nail biter if you're doing a no reset run. Contigo is going to perform a little bit of a normalized setup here. This is a very, very new tech to get a very fast ledge bomb off the tip of that wing to head directly to the end.
That is very clean.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that setup executed before, so very cool to see that new strat make its way into the run here. And like we mentioned, oh, go ahead, Superior.
Oh no, I was just gonna say with quick arrow smuggle being so powerful, they're gonna be using that again to get to the end a lot faster now. Otherwise, this wing ride is gonna be really, really slow.
For sure. If you may remember from our tournament back in November, or some of the older routes, if you haven't watched an 80% run in a while, you may remember the well that we used to dive into to clip out of bounds in Castletown. That well is no longer. We are now using a different clip spot with the balcony at Castle. The balcony at Castle is great for a couple of reasons. Number one, it provides us with arrows, which as you've noticed in Fuse Shrine and throughout basically the entirety of GSI, we have not been using arrows. That allows us to perform Arrow Smuggle Flight, as we need to be in a state where we cannot enter bullet time. However, for the jump slash cancel clips to get out of bounds, we will need arrows to make them viable. And luckily, right next to the clip spot at Castle, there is a handy bundle of arrows. So that's what we're going to be grabbing. Meatballs.
Yeah.
Having to gamble for his life out here in the gem casino, but looks like he finally got the drop he's looking for.
No?
Oh, actually, wait, no. I think
He's
he
going for
must
the
have ran out of
backup.
cards. Yeah, he probably ran out of amiibo, so he's gonna have to showcase the no amiibo route here.
And the no amiibo route is the route that they typically used before having to scan the Daruk. There's a guaranteed ruby drop in one of the ores in this cave.
Right, and we used to be picking it up in the Fuse segment, kind of winging down there and then running to Fuse, but it was just recently rediscovered because I guess this, and old routes used to do this too, but then it's diving down after recall is kind of an in and out of the route for a long time. It's funny that it's finally made its way back, but it does save a few seconds if you're grabbing it earlier. And of course, if you're going for the amiibo route and you run out of scans, it is kind of your only option. But we'll see. Contigo got a pretty clean clip, and he's going to have to dive down, avoiding this visible and invisible out-of-bounds geometry here to make his way to clip back in bounds. Collision in this game is double-sided, so he won't be able to just simply pop back in bounds like we could back in Breath of the Wild. But he's going to perform a mid-air shield unequip at a precise angle off this ledge to put him into ragdoll. And
Very good.
interesting, he's not going for the backup autosave here. So if he does die from any point during Army to the beginning of the Ganondorf fight, he will have to redo that clip and the entire out-of-bounds diving section again. And now we'll see these rubies starting to come in handy. And he's using Recall to cancel these throw animations. Not only does it allow you to get the subsequent throws out faster, but it also does pause enemy movement in between throws, making things just a little bit more comfy for you.
I haven't been paying too close attention, but do you think Contigo's on PB pace?
It's hard to
With
say.
how he's playing?
He's definitely had a clean run, and second try scan definitely helps. I think his, I believe his PB was a 4th or 5th try scan from a couple days ago. I can't remember quite exactly, but Contigo actually just broke his own 41-minute figure. His PB is currently standing at a 40.58. And he's on a very good pace right now, so we'll be seeing a definitely, if not a close to PB pace, not too far off from Quantico here. Assuming he can finish out the rest of the run cleanly. You'll also see him coming to grab these pickups from Army. These are useful for the Ganondorf fight upcoming. We're going to grab some Royal Halberds for the Flurry Rush damage bonus, and a couple monster parts to use against Ganon and Demon Dragon. A couple well-placed throws here for the Gibdo phase. Fun trivia fact. Oh, hold that trivia fact. Disaster has struck in the Gibdo phase. Quantico has died, and he's going to be sent all the way back up to the clip. And without the backup bow. However, there is actually conveniently a backup bow right next to that bundle of arrows. So if he remembers it's there, he should be able to grab that and set up arrow smuggle again very quickly. But now Red Sleigh has pulled into the lead here with Moldy Meatballs not far behind. Oh, looks like he's going for a map Zuggle setup to get arrow smuggle here. This is likely because for one of the only issues with Quick Drop Smuggle is that it can be hard to find a suitable wall. Oh, actually, I take that back. So what he's actually doing is he's filling up his inventory with bows. That way, if he presses A, he won't accidentally pick up the bow, and he'll be able to maintain arrow smuggle in a semi-permanent state. So that's why he was performing those bow duplications. I actually haven't seen that backup before, but that's very, very clever. You see Red Sleigh making short work of these Goblins here. Definitely into the lead, but Moist also, as you can see in your bottom left here, not far behind. Clean ragdoll clip about to enter Army. So very great backup for Quantico, even though he ended up dying in Army, not grabbing the backup bonus that actually did work out okay for him, even though he had to reset there. Oh, something else we can note here is, looks like Moist got the Topaz. The Topaz actually does save a couple seconds on Army because not only does it do a little bit more damage, but also, for some reason, the death animations for the monsters are faster, so you can transition to the next game a little quicker. Although, this can definitely be a bit of a double-edged sword, as sometimes you can miss the monster parts that you want to grab. But Moist he's definitely a very strong, Army is definitely one of his strongest segments, so we'll be looking to see a great time from Moist Blub over here. About to go with the second try, ragdoll clip back in balance. About to take vengeance on those Gibdos.
Clean fight from Red Sleigh. Now he's gonna head off to Ganon.
So now what we're going to see here from Red Sleigh is after completing the Army, since we haven't done any of the dungeons here, we are going to have to fight through a 6-part boss rush. However, thanks to the power of Arrow Smuggle, we can clip out of bounds and skip the entire boss rush. Because for some reason, as you may know, the flag for Ganondorf boss battle to spawn in is triggered after Army fight is complete, but not after the bosses are complete. So if we can make our way to his arena, we'll be able to fight him basically immediately after Army. These clips here. Decently clean clip from Red Sleigh. Unfortunately, it looks like Meatballs is also going to have to reset from Castle Balcony here. Moist not far behind at all. He's definitely gaining some ground on Red Sleigh. You'll also notice Moist here performing some menu with the halberds. This is a glitch known as Map Zuggle, or Zuggle, but Map Zuggle is the way to set it up. By basically force dropping these weapons, we can trick the game into kind of gluing them to Li's hand. Therefore, we can basically be holding 5 halberds at once and stack them for insane damage. And that monster part that we fused on there, it applies to all the stacked weapons. So basically, it's a free 5 horns in 1 that we're going to be able to use to quickly take down Ganondorf, as you're about to see here from Red Sleigh.
Did he mess up?
He forgot to fuse his monster part.
Oh.
Looks like it. So he's gonna have to 2-cycle first place in phase here. Durability shouldn't be much of
There
a
we
concern.
go.
He should be okay. Just a little temporary setback. I'm sure he was probably a bit confused for a second what was going on. Also, welcome in Ninja. Ninja's also got a good pace here into Army, finishing up the Gibdo phase.
So do we mention the Colgera music going on?
Sure,
He's
sure.
the actual true boss.
Yeah. It's funny, sometimes you get the Colgera music and the boss, like the boss tag, it persists through the Ganondorf fight, but then sometimes it'll randomly switch back and forth. It's I'm not quite sure what triggers it, but it's definitely something interesting. Moist actually had some very clean clips and a clean tunnel fight, so he's gained some ground on Red Slay here. These two are going to be fighting neck and neck during the last section here to take the lead. Successful army attempt from Ninja. He's going to head down and attempt the clips now.
And Red Slay is off to Demon Dragon now. I have to sit through a couple minutes of cutscene though. How long is this cutscene actually?
Oh man. So to start off, you get this load that can take anywhere from 25 to 30 seconds. Definitely can be very frustrating to get a slow load here. Then you have a cutscene skip, then another 10 seconds of loads, then another, I don't know, 30 seconds of cutscene, another cutscene skip. Classic Zelda. We love our cutscenes. Well, actually, personally, I don't mind it too much here because if I'm reaching Demon Dragon on PB pace, my nerves are probably going a little bit, so this is a great time to kind of gather myself, steal my resolve for what many runners consider to be the most difficult section of the run here, which is the Demon Dragon boss fight. As you may have noticed, none of our runners have grabbed the paraglider, and Nintendo decided not to give it to us after completing the tutorial area. So we're going to be having to rely on a very, very tight cycle between these two moving dragons, Demon Dragon and Light Dragon, as well as deploying wings and jump slashes to kind of aid our movement here. So we can take out the weak points in just 2 cycles. And Red Slay and Moist almost neck and neck here. And we love our cutscene here of the Black Boss Bokoblin Royal Master Halberd Sword, whatever you want to call it. The funny effect of Zelda is that it does persist through loads and even through saves. So we've still got all these halberds in our hand along with the Master Sword. Oh no, looks like Ninja fell to the club and Ganondorf. He's gonna have to retry the fight. Thankfully, you do get a kind of secret autosave at the beginning of the fight, so he'll only have to redo the first couple phases. And looks like we're back to Lotus here. He's also in the second phase of the game. We'll be paying close attention to Red Slay here as he tries to close out Demon Dragon. Fusing the second horn to his sword in order to take out the rest of the weak points in 3 hits instead of 4. We'll be able to tell here, based on Zelda's position, a little slow. It's going to be close here, actually. But it looks like he should be fine. Had to ride Zelda back up and wait for the second cycle. Clean wing deployment from Red Slay here. Looks like Moist also had a very clean first 2 cycles, so he's definitely on pace as well. Red Slay making it very quickly to the 4th weak point. It looks like he has got the fast 2 cycle, and all that remains here is some backward slashes for the final hit. Assuming Light Dragon doesn't troll here and knock him off, which can definitely happen. we're seeing some great execution from Moist as well in the Demon Dragon fight. There you go. Looks like Red Slay's finishing out with the final slash. That should be good. Up in the air to avoid the 8-second loading screen. And he's got it. There we go. That is basically game for Red Slay. Assuming he remembers to skip the last cutscene. But, well, another very, very clean Demon Dragon fight from Moist here, too.
Moist.
Basically the exact same pace as Red Slay.
Moist begging Red Slay to not skip the cutscene.
Very, very close finish here between Red Slay and Moist, two of the top runners for this category who have both been grinding for months. Red Slay also being a former world record holder himself, and actually the winner of our Any Percent tournament back in November. So no surprise here that Red Slay's at the top of his game. Although very interesting too, because I do recall that he stayed up all night last night doing a 7-hour All Shrines run. Not sure if he has got much sleep between then and now, but crazy to see him perform at such a high level during this no reset. And his time will end as he catches Zelda's hand here. 44:07. That's actually my personal PB. So he's on a decent pace here. But GG's to Red Slay. Congratulations on the first place finish. Moist barely far behind at all.
Congratulations to Red Slay.
Moist wrapping up here too with a 44:41, also a incredibly solid time for a no reset from Moist. Quantico looks like it's just finishing up Demon Dragon 2. After being in the lead for most of the race, unfortunate mishap in Army, but looks like he was able to keep the nerves down and finish out a solid endgame segment. Series as well, getting a very clean dragon fight.
Link, how are you?
The most annoying part about this run for you?
The most annoying part? I mean, it's gotta be the cutscene at the beginning, right? Having to sit through that for every reset. Intro itself is not easy. It's a very high reset point, and once you finally get through it and watch that cutscene, then you're faced with cog skip. You miss cog skip more than 2 or 3 times, and it's right back to intro. So I mean that depends on your consistency for sure. But the getting through early game can definitely be very tough with all the current optimal strats. But after that, the route is, you know, it's very, very fun, and all the way through endgame, it can be very intense and very exciting. So I guess if only Nintendo had decided to make that cutscene skippable, I would have saved hours of IRL time grinding out this category. But hey, I mean that's kind of a Zelda classic at this point, right? You got MM intro, Wind Waker intro, OOT intro.
Mm-hmm.
Breath of the Wild intro. Oh wait, you guys are lucky.
Breath of the Wild used to be kind of bad because, at least early in the game, before there's glitches, you had to unlock the tower, and that tower cutscene lasted a pretty long time.
True. That's very true.
But there's nothing as egregious as the ones that you mentioned.
Serious, a very clean Demon Dragon fight. He has this thing he always likes to say, that he never fails Dragon on pace, and I guess that's been true here as well. 47-17. Another solid no reset time for Serious. GG's on the finish.
And just having to do a few mod stores to get over here. That's the one bad thing about a Demon Dragon, is that if you mess up just a slight bit and miss the cycle, it's kind of slow trying to get to where you need to be afterwards, depending on Zelda.
For sure. And the earlier you mess up, the worse it is because it throws off the entire cycle and you have to improvise. And Zelda is not exactly known for dropping you off at the most convenient spots. Sirius is telling us that he golded his Enter Army 7 by 2 seconds, which is very, very crazy. For his level, for a 2-second gold in a reset race is pretty insane, so congrats to Sirius for that pace. Looks like Ninja got the final hit on Dragon now too. Oh, he's getting that long black loading screen. Looks like he accidentally landed on the head there at the end. For some reason, 1.0 exclusive quirk, if you're not in the air during that final hit on Demon Dragon, you get this 8-second black loading screen for who knows why. But just up until the very end of the game, the very last hit on the final boss, things can't go wrong. So this round definitely requires you to be locked in from start to finish. Flush also finishing out here. A little bit of an assist from the wing there on Mech Bro. He jumped off a bit early and got smacked by the wing, but thankfully it ragdolled him right next to where he wanted to go, so a little bit of a lucky break there. Looks like Mech Bro was still a bit too slow for the cycle, but he is using these monster jumps to kind of stall mid-air waiting for Dragon. Something that I like to do is use Arrow Flight to pull out a wing mid-air and just kind of stand on the wing. Definitely a lot less input heavy than doing those jump slashes. But I'm not sure if a lot of runners know about that tech yet, but it's nice to have Arrow Flight as a backup to Dragon. Congrats to Slush finishing up the run here. Ninja having just finished some solid times, 50.09 from Ninja, 50.27 from Slush. Huge plays from all our runners here. Negro finishing up as well. Congrats to both of them on the finish. Oh, back to Eshek as well. Looks like he just got the final hit on Demon Dragon as well. Very, very tight race between some of our competitors here, all finishing within seconds of each other. Love to see the competition. It's been building up for quite a while now. We've got some very solid runners making their way to the top of the leaderboard recently. Managed to get all the finishes live on stream. Huge. And we'll take this time to give a special shout out and thanks to Trez and the ZSR Restream team for hosting us today and all the work that you guys put in. We definitely appreciate you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trez, and everyone for showing up.
GG's Mech Bro on the 7th place finish of 51.23. Very solid time for sure.
Interesting, all of our runners were kind of like clumped up in little groups. Like the 44s, like the 46s, 50s, 51s. Everyone just having their own little race towards the end.
The competition within the competition. Congrats to Meatballs on the finish time of 51.50. Looks like Meatballs is claiming that that's the world record run. I'm not so sure about that, but maybe later, maybe next time. And our last runner finishing up here, Eshek. Congrats on the finish of 52.25. And with that, our race is complete. Everybody has managed to get to the end in a very fast time. Sub 53 for every runner is pretty incredible, despite all the mishaps.
That's not entirely true, by the way. There's one more runner,
Oh,
which is Jimmy. Sadly, Jimmy has his wrong Twitch account set up in race time, so we can't stream. We can't stream him.
I see.
But I checked him, and he's still doing Horde, so the army.
All right, so thank you for the update, Traz. And of course, we can't see him, but best of luck. We're there in spirit for you, Jimmy, cheering you on to get through army and endgame.
All right, and here we have the standings of this race. Once again, for your all life. Big shout out to you, Tapia, and to Claudette for doing the commentary for this. I'm not sure if anybody of the races is willing to come in for an interview. Doesn't look like it. But yeah, big shout outs to you too.
Thank you, thank you. It was great to be here and commentate about for this race. But yeah, looking at the standings here, definitely very solid finishing times across the board. Red Slate with a 44.07, Moist 30 seconds behind, Katiko another minute and a half behind that. Very great efforts. Love to see it across the board from our runners here today.
And this was just a very exciting race overall. I feel like everyone had a chance within like the top 7 or actually everyone really. Everyone just had a slight miss up here or there, which yo-yoed the lead back and forth. It was really entertaining to watch. So thank you all the runners for coming out.
For sure. Not sure if we had anybody on for an interview. Looks like Moist might be up for it. Perhaps.
Nobody said anything, at least when I asked.
He just messaged me.
Yeah, he can come in any moment if you want to.
Yeah, Moist, feel free to join in if you'd like to do an interview.
Yeah, just join the waiting room.
So what are we gonna do for our 2-year anniversary?
Hundo race.
I was gonna say all dungeons, but Hundo could be intriguing as well. If everybody's got, I don't know, give or take 30 hours of your life.
How about Hundo glitchless?
Okay, make that 60 hours.
GG Red Slay, how you doing?
Yo, I'm doing good. I'm very happy with that run. There's only like one major mistake in that run, and that was missing wing flip, which lost like 2.5 minutes. But apart from that, very clean.
Classic.
And somehow I got a 138 intro, which no idea how that happened, but I'll take it.
Yeah, very solid run. We loved seeing your pacer endgame was pretty crazy too. So I was gonna ask you, I know you were up late the other night doing an all shrines run. How did that go? Were you able to get any sleep between now and then?
About 3 hours in, I decided to stop it. I was like, it's not worth completely destroying my sleep schedule. So I'll either continue it at another point or just do another one next week.
Very cool, very cool. I was about to say, staying up all night for a 7-hour speedrun and then coming in here and busting out a top time in our anniversary race would have been pretty impressive, but nonetheless impressive that you managed to finish on top. It's funny too, your finishing time is actually my current PB, so I feel a little bit styled on right now.
And also GG Moist, welcome on in.
Hello, hello.
How are you feeling after that run?
My beginning was really bad. I lost like 3-4 minutes. But then the end game was quite good. I saved time on every split in my PB, so.
Oh, that's really good.
Not bad for a no reset. And speaking of no resets, Moist has been partaking in a little bit of an interesting endeavor recently. He's been doing Breath of the Kingdom runs, where he's been speedrunning Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom 80% back-to-back. So he's definitely pretty familiar with these no reset scenarios. How are you liking those Breath of the Kingdom runs, by the way?
Good, it's good. It takes time to like just get used to the different menuing and stuff, but it's really fun.
I bet. That's very cool. Yeah, I know a handful of other runners have done Breath of the Kingdom attempts. Player 5, I know, was running some. I know Jake is working on doing attempts for that. Definitely very cool. I'd love to try it out for myself if I actually knew how to play Breath of the Wild. Maybe someday I'll join you guys.
Sounds good.
But yeah, congrats on the finish on this no reset here. And thank you as well, Eshek, for the raid coming into ZSR here. GG's on your finish as well.
Do either of you guys have a highlight from this past year for Tears of the Kingdom that you'd like to share?
Oh, the 80% tournament at Christmas was awesome. That was
Mm.
super fun.
Definitely. Probably
For
quick
sure.
drop smuggle. That was
Yeah, that's a good one.
So how much do you two reckon that you saved over your PB after implementing Quick Drop Smuggle? How big of an impact did that have on your runs?
Currently about 10 seconds, because I haven't really grinded much with quick drop smuggle. But
Mine was
should be able to save some more time with it.
yeah, mine's about 40 seconds so far. But I did
You-
Zuggle overload, which was really slow.
That's true. That's true. And the little bit of a nicer drop rate from the amiibo probably helps
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Also-
thank you all again. Oh, you have another
Yeah.
question?
Oh, I was just
Go
gonna say thanks to Ninja for raiding in. GG's on your completed run as well. And thanks for Resley and Moist for joining us for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you everybody in this race for running. Big shout outs to everybody racing. Congrats to Red Slave for winning. Big shout out as well to, again, Tapir and Clouded for commentating this. And I actually have a small idea here, folks. So, we have one more race in this game. One more race in this race. So how about we just cut it off here and we all head over to Jimmy SR's stream and give him some encouragement and drag him over the finish line. How's that?
Sounds
So-
perfect. Let's go.
I like that idea.
Love-
So let's do that. That's all. Go over there with the raid message. Let's go, Jimmy. I'm gonna put it in chat and then
Let's go.
thank you all
Jimmy.
for watching. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for having me.